Right. Okay. Okey-doke. Let's find the video. Just putting the YouTube link in if you would like to Chromecast tonight's class. Then I'm going to share it, get it into the Creative Family Group and the Creative Hub. It is a Scrapbooks week. And Hub. Family. Right. Hi, Marissa. Okay. I don't think we're going to do chipboard maybe tonight. I might be doing that straight away. We will be using cardstock. Hi, Di. Rightio. Hi, Paula and Robin. Robin, your retreat kit's at the shop too to pick up. And don't forget we have Sunday afternoon class too, Robin, as well. Hello, Joanne and Mary. Okay. So Helen suggested for Scrapbooks Week. It is Scrapbooks Week this week, so there's no kit as such. So she suggested that people might like to witness live my Shabango Easel card in a box, which is a card, but it's also a gift. They're great for Mother's Day, but they're wonderful for weddings. I make a lot for weddings. I do get, people do request that I make them for their loved ones. So I've made like cream, gold, and sage. I've made white and peach. I've made blue, white, and silver. I've made blue, navy, and silver. I've made navy, white, and pale pink. I've made red, black, and white. I've made all sorts for people. I've made one in sort of vintage type colours with pictures of the bride and groom and their pets. So yes, you can do anything. Hello. Hello, Angela. 2 nights in a row with you guys and my family. Well, Paula, sometimes I spend more time with you guys than my family. Hello, Helen and Beck. Hello, Karen. Watching us hubby drives tonight. Hello, Cheryl and Diana. Now, Helen is here, so Helen gets credit for choosing tonight's class. Thank you, Helen. So I thought very vintage. I thought of these 3 colours, like sort of white and then this lace, pale pink and the blue, and then maybe a little pop of the dark pinky violet colour. So I've got some very vintage. Don't think I'll use this pink. It's a bit different. Then I was looking at, I thought a pocket would be nice because people struggle to use the pockets. Pocket and then flowers. These were sort of okay, the pink, but other colours weren't perfect. Or these pockets, a frame. So I designed one of my samplers to match and then made matching flowers. I made the flowers to match. There we go. And I have almost finished fussy cutting one. I've only got one flower cut, but this is another one to show. I will make this live tomorrow. Thank you, Joanne. So then I was talking to Quentin and we thought, oh, maybe I should grab one of my Shabango Easel cards in a box to bring home, which I don't have many left, actually. I don't have many samples at all. But the issue is that I didn't. I couldn't find one, but we did. Quentin goes, what about this one? I said, no, that's an Easel box draw card, which was really a popular Friday night video. But what if we make this and then we put this in a box? That's bigger Shabango than the Shabango we were going to do. So we're going to do this over 3 nights, not the 2 that we were going to do. I think we do 3 nights. So we'll do tonight, tomorrow night, and we'll do Friday night. And we're going to fully embellish it and get it all done. And tonight, we're only going to do about an hour each night. I'm going to admit, I'm pretty buggered, hey. We've been really busy with school holidays. And today was day 3 of starting work extra early. And a lot of you know I'm not 100% at the moment. So you do have to bear with me. I am in catch-up mode with everything. Or trying to stay ahead, actually. Keep my head above water with all my design stuff. So we'll only do about an hour a night. But tonight what we'll do is we'll build our box base and our Easel box draw card base. But we'll talk about how to... I don't think we're going to make it this big. Because this is like 6 inches. I don't think we're going to quite make it this big. Because that's going to be a humongous box to sit that in. Oh, maybe we might. And we're going to make a kit. But the kit won't be obviously available until the end of Friday night. We'll build it as we go. Well, actually, my sidekick's going to build it as we go. And I'm going to try and make the whole lot with 4 pieces of cardstock. Just 4 pieces. Yes. We will make it work. Wow, that is awesome. Thank you, Helen. So, yeah. And we'll talk about reinforcing and... So interesting thing is, this one was on display for a long time. And see how it's got a droopy doop? So do you know why that is? Because my drawer doesn't go in far enough to support this piece here. But then if my drawer goes in too far, then what happens is then how am I going to get the drawer open? So we're going to work on how we then get the drawer open, but have the drawer support this. Because this needs support. Do you know what I mean? Like this point needs support, but the drawer, yeah, the drawer needs to be able to be grabbed. And see, this gets pushed down when you grab the drawer in any case. So when you grab the drawer, you actually push that down. So that's a stress point on this type of thing. So we could make it 6 inches because you're not going to post one of these. If you did post it, it'd cost you an arm and a leg, wouldn't it? Well, I reckon it would. So the place we're going to build from, the place where you start is from your, and I actually don't think 4 pieces is enough now, because originally when I was doing 4 pieces, I wasn't doing the drawer, but yeah. So the place you're going to start from is your drawer. So you work out how big you're going to make your drawer, and then from there you work out how big you're going to make this piece, and then you make this piece, and then you make the box base, and then you make the box lid. I know, it's a lot. It's a lot. Cannot stay to watch tonight. Catch up tomorrow. Okay. That's cool, Mary. Love this idea, says Beck. There you go. So while I'm just clearing this away, I'm going to talk about, we've had a lot on. So we've actually got stuff in and not had time to do box openings. It's been school holidays. We're week 2 of school holidays here in Queensland. We teach a lot of school holiday classes. We are very, very busy on school holidays, as you can imagine. And yes, we haven't done box openings. We've got a top-up of Dimensional Magic tweezers and Eco Success scissors. We've had some matte gel, gloss gel, paintbrush sets of 2 types, and white paint from Montmart. We have a top-up that hasn't been entered yet. We've had white cardstock, like a massive big box of white cardstock. We've got some new colors to us of Pilot paint pens in medium and fine, or in medium new colors, but some fines, and they are not in yet. Actually, no, it's fluoros. We've got a top up of fluoros. We've had the fluoros before a medium. So we've got a top up of the fluoros in the medium, and we've got a top up of some of the others we're out of. What else is there? We released kits. I showed you the kits for October last night. They're on Facebook and YouTube. So there's only 3 sets of those left. It is the 1st of October. So anyone that only purchased kits for September, you will either need to purchase October kits or a subscription to stay in the Creative Hub, the Creative Hub Facebook group. What else is there? We've released our classes for November, for the 8th and 9th of November. So you can either book into the 2 classes Saturday, 2 classes Sunday, or all 4 over the 2 days. Or you can click to buy the kits for either Saturday or Sunday or the 2 days. So if you go to that Brisbane classes, you can actually book to buy the kits if you just want to buy the kits. And you don't have to show up to get your kits. We can post them to you. What else is there, Naomi? Oh, we released a cruise this week. I haven't done the email about it, but we did. I found out about it yesterday. Quentin found out about it Monday, that it's been released. It's February 2027, and we're looking for a cabin buddy for Naomi John. And we released a retreat. Yes, Mediterranean vibes for May next year. That's it, isn't it? Please say that's it.
I think so.
Yep, there. That's it. That's what we've done in the last couple of days. So it's a lot, I know. So we're going to make our box. Let's make our box it all goes into 6 by 6 by about, let's go 1.5 inches high. So we're going to make our box that everything goes in 6 by 6. We're actually going to work from that way and then back up and around. We'll start from the outer box. So we're going to make a 6 by 6 box, and it's going to have 1.5 inches sides. So we're going to need, I better not draw on that because that's a million ants. No, if I draw on that, I'm in strife. Okay. So I've got 6. Oh, I don't think it can be 1.5 inches high. No, it can't be 1.5 inches high. It needs to be 1.25 inches high. So 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 6, 8 and a half, 8 and a half, 9, 10, 11, plus a quarter. Okay, so we're going to start with a 12 by 12 piece for the base. Another cruise. Yes, just popping in for a few minutes. Got the grand boys here. Awesome. Ordered the Mediterranean retreat. Yes, Diana, I think you were. No. Diana was the first person after email. Jeanette bought it minutes. She must have been on the website when it popped up because she bought it before it even said anything to anyone. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to have I'm leaving it down there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come in. Are you ready? Are we writing this down? Someone needs to write this down. 1/2 inch. So we've got a 12 by 12 piece. So we're going to come in 1/2 inch. And then we're going to come in at the 1 3/4 inch mark. And then at the 3-inch mark. And then we're going to turn it. And we're going to do 1/2 inch. 1 3/4, 3-inch. Turn it. And these are at the marks, at the 1/2 inch mark, the 1 3/4 inch mark, and the 3-inch mark. I know I said we start from the drawer, but I think we're going to start from the box. 1/2 inch, 1 3/4, 3-inch. And you know why we're going to do that? Because if we start from the drawer, which is the smallest thing, we may not have enough cardstock in a 12-inch piece to make the box that it goes in. That's just where it goes. That's like where we end up when we go from the smallest thing. We really need to go from the biggest thing, or the almost biggest thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to fold each of those lines. So we're going to just to get it all nice and used to being folded. And yep, I do use, this is a bone folder. I'm just hoping it's like cow leg bone or something. It's making memories who just disappeared one day. They were there one day and gone the next. As a brand in our industry, a long time ago they disappeared. I did try and find out what happened to making memories, but they're not even existing on the internet to be able to say, well, what happened to these people? I think they might have got swallowed up by someone else. Right, so we've got this weird looking thing, right? So now what we need to do is we obviously need to fold it. And we're going to use a combination of glue and tape. Like when we make a mini book, we're going to use tape for grip and glue for slip and strength. Okay, so scissors. Where are my scissors? Here we go. I'm down a set of scissors, but I think it's my fussy cutting buddy. Okay, so we're not just gonna across the corner. No. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn it to the outside so we can see the ridges created from our scoring. Because sometimes we need to cut on a particular side of a ridge to get it to sit how we need it to sit. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to have this piece tuck under this piece here. So that's going to tuck in under there. And that's going to go down, down, down. Okay. So we're going to do it end to end. So we're going to do like both. We're going to cut these two, and then we're going to cut these two. We're not just going to cut this one, then this one, then this one. That gets really hard. We're just going to do 2, 2, like 2, 2. Okay. Oh, here we go. Hello, Tina. Thank you very much, Diana. Diana is over on the tube doing some instructions. I know Diana comes back and looks at her instructions when she comes back and makes the project. So, and Marion's got some instructions on Facebook. Thank you, guys. You guys are amazing. Okay, so we've got our scissors. And we are coming in. So see this ridge here? We're going to be on the outside. So this right hand outside of this ridge, and we're going to cut. Right on the outside of the ridge. I really hope I get this right. I could cry if I get it wrong. Yep, I make mistakes. I'm just going to cut down into the middle of this ridge here. This one down here. See, when we fold it, look at that. We'll get a nice corner there. And trap that, and then that'll fold in there like that. Right. So then let's come back here. So we've cut there, and we're going to cut just down to this point, and we're going to cut on the right of the ridge to here. And then here, we're going to cut on the inside of the ridge. Here. So we've got no ridge here and no ridge here and no ridge here. So no ridge, no ridge, no ridge. Because, where's the piece? See, when we've cut this piece out, we've got the ridge there and the ridge there. So we remove that bit there from in here. And then we're just going to cut this bit there like that. So this is what we left it. So when we fold it, we're going to fold it like this. And then that'll fold in there. And then this piece here is going to fold in here. And then this tab is going to get trapped in there like that. It's going to get trapped in there. And it's trapped in there. so it can't get out. Rightio. So now we're going to do the one here. So where are we? We're going to cut on... Actually, before we go any further, what we're actually going to do is we're going to cut on this side of the ridge. And then when we get to here, we're just going to angle it to there. So we've just cut the ridge off here. And then when we come to the end, we've just done a little angle there. Trust me, it helps. Okay. So where are we? We're cutting on this side of the ridge. All the way in. On the left of the ridge we are now. Then we're going to remove the ridge here. Then we're going to remove the ridge here. We're going to snip. And then we're just going to come back here and just remove just that little thin ridge part. And then just taper as we get to there. Like that. Because when we fold this, so this little piece in here is actually going to fold back. So we'll put that in there. Like that. Okay, let's do the other end. Right. So we're to the right of the ridge. We're to the right of the ridge. Now this one here, we're going to cut to the left of the ridge. Snip. Like that. And then we're going to cut just the fine little ridge piece off and then just taper it to there. There we go. Okay. So where are we? We are... So we're at this end. We're going to go to the left of the ridge. Might have been a bit far there. And then went to the left of the ridge. Sounds like a dance. Then we go to the right of the ridge.
How's the construction going, dear?
Not got very far.
Did some folding and cutting.
Yep. See ya.
Yep.
See you in the morning. Be safe.
We'll do 6 o'clock.
Yeah, right. There. And then we're going to cut just the ridge piece off here and then taper it. There we go. Okay. So all these little tiny 1/2-inch pieces, we're going to fold them back. So we're going to fold them back the opposite way. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get our tape. And this is where I'll get my... Oh, thank you, Diana. And I'm going to try something. Yep, it was that box you checked the other night, which showed the comments, Naomi. Okay. So, you know, that little box you checked. So now I'm going to put tape on both sides of this little tab, front and back. And this is where, you know, I find it acceptable to use scissors with tape. So we're going to try and make this quite tight in that it's going to be stuck well and it's not going to have saggy edges. It's going to be quite well taped down. So these little pieces, we're going to put some tape on them. Yeah. And they will get covered by a piece of our pattern paper. We'll put a nice piece of pattern paper in the bottom, like we've done in this drawer, and that will hide any, you know, discrepancies. Rightio. So what we'll do is we're just going to do a test drive. So I'm going to put these tabs in. Tab in. We're going to put it together without taping it and make sure that it all holds together. And that we don't have any bad bits. Look at that. And then when we put something in the bottom, it's a bug, piece of pattern paper, it all looks good. So you can see it just doesn't want to sit just here. See, it's got a bit of a pucker just there. Well, you probably can't see it because my fat finger in the way. Just there, there's just a little bit of a sit-up pucker. So on these little half-inch pieces, let's do a little, just a tiny bit of an easement there. From the fold. Let's do it again. Oh, that's better. Look at that. That's beautiful. It sits nicely. So that's the base for the whole thingo. Let's stick it together now. I should really burnish these, but this actually holds itself together quite well. This is actually not bad as far as holding together. So we're just gonna sit this in here nicely and get it to sit nice. Yep. Just a tiny bit of glue, and that actually helps it to get a bit of a slip and slide going when we're just sitting our corner together like this. And then I'm just going to press it together on the tape. Next one. Just a tiny bit of glue and then line the corner up nicely. So we do line our corners up nicely, press it on the tape. And then last one, which is a little bit, it could be a little bit precious about it. Line it up. Yep, like that. Stick it in. Rightio. Now let's get in. You can use your pokey tool if you need to. Mine's very bent. You can use that. Okay. I'm not a fan of using something like that because I've made the mistake and stabbed a hole in things before. Okay, so then we're going to stick those in. That one. And that one. And then let's lift these up and remove our tape. As far as physics go, it doesn't really fall apart without the tape in any case. By the time we stick a piece of paper in the bottom, it actually is all good. So let's just turn back a little bit on these two. And then we're going to fold it, sit it in place. Happy with that. Heel. Make sure I hold it at the top before I stick it down at the bottom. Heel. And there we go. That's our draw base. And it only took us 38 minutes. Really, really, Elisa. Really, really. Okay. Let's make our lid. So, our lid's not going to come back down as far. You don't want your lid to come down as far. I think an inch is enough. That's 1.25 inches high. I think an inch is far enough for the lid to come down. You want it to not go all the way to the bottom. You want it to be something that when they touch it and their hands touch it, they go, oh, there's a ridge there. What happens when I lift? So we're going to do 1 inch down and 1 inch up. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 1/8. So we need to cut our cardstock. We need to cut a piece of cardstock to 11 1/8 by 11 1/8. Yep. 11 1/8 by 11 1/8. Yeah. So 1/8 is halfway between 11 and 11 1/4. So we're going to score, this time we're going to do it 1/2 inch, 1 1/2 inch, and 2 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch, 1 1/2 inch, and 2 1/2 inch. And we're going to build it exactly the same. 1/2 inch, 1 1/2, 2 1/2. 1/2 inch, 1 1/2, 2 1/2. Now, the reason why I don't use my plastic bone folder that comes on the scoreboard to do all this other stuff is they actually wear, they're plastic, so ridges wear in them. This is bone. It wears, but it doesn't. This is a Manky color because I alcohol inked it when I got alcohol inks the first time. I even alcohol inked my old heat tool. Yeah. I was testing them on everything when they first got released. But I don't use this in my scoreboard because it's bone and has less give in it. So you can actually accidentally just rip your paper and your cardstock more easily. So plastic's good in the score pal or your scoreboard. and bone's better for this sort of stuff because it doesn't wear as easily. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go through exactly the same again, and we're going to do all our folds. And then we're going to do our cutting exactly the same as we did last time. We're going to go like to the right of the ridge, to the right of the ridge, to the left of the ridge, trim the ridge off, tapered. To the right of the ridge, to the right of the ridge. Oh no, to the left, to the left, to the right, trim and taper. Right, right, left, trim and taper. Left, left, right, trim and taper. Okay, so we're on this side where we see our ridges. So we're going to go to the right of the ridge. What are you doing, Naomi?
Just a few unique things. I'm about to go and help Amelia. She's fussy cutting at the moment.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, her way to clean her desk isn't looking at
Her way to clean her desk is not cleaning her desk as quick as what she makes out it is. To the right of the ridge. To the left of the ridge. Trim. Trim and taper. And then, remember, snip. So we're to the left of the ridge. To the left of the ridge. Okay. I snipped it off. Let's turn to the other end. Snipped it off.
Yeah, kind of fix that.
I'm not going to recut it. Go away, go. A sandfly. Okay. Right. I went too far. See, and you know, as I was doing that, I was actually thinking, oh, I've got to be careful not to go too far and snip it off as I went snip. Really, really, really. Yep. So we're doing left here because we're on the left side. Yeah, don't do that. Don't tell anyone, but you can add back in a little scrap. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah. I'm not cutting it again. I'm at like a 7:45 mark and I've made a box base. Yeah. Oh, whoops. Sorry, my tiredness is actually showing at the moment. You are seeing just how tired I am. Okay. So I've accidentally snipped this one in an almighty massive way. I've even cut it crooked. And I was thinking, oh, I better make sure I don't do it wrong because I usually get it wrong about now. Right, so I've got I've got a cornery bit here. So see, one of my cut off bits. So I'm going to cut like inside this ridge here, and inside here. And I'm going to trim that there. Then I'm going to put tape on the two outsides. Tape, tape. I'm not going to put tape right up against this bit here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to match up the ridge bit with this ridge here. So the ridge there, I'm going to match it up with this one here. And just line it up. There we go. All fixed. Kind of. Let's put our tape bits on, our little tabs. Just don't go over that foldy bit there. Made these ones a bit big. Right, so then we're going to fold these little pieces on the end back. Remember we folded them back last time? You're going to be so good at making these bases by the time we get finished. And then let's trim. Let's not get cocky. Let's make sure we definitely do a test drive. Make sure it actually fits and it's fit for purpose. So we made this one 11 1/8. So it's just slightly, now this is our corner. That's our bodgy corner, right? It's a bit tighter, our bodgy corner. This is just ever so slightly bigger. It fits snugly, but it's across here. It's an 1/8 of an inch bigger this way and this way than our base. So it's nice and fitted. If you do it 1/4 of an inch bigger, it just flops off. But an 1/8 gives you a nice finish. And look at that. Like a bought box, but better because we made it ourselves. So this corner's really tight here where I did my fixer rating. Yep. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to trim the slightest bit off there. And I'm going to trim just the slightest bit off this side here. Just made this corner just a little too tight. Right. So these little edges here that we rolled back, remember we need to put tape on them. Tiny bit of glue. Then we're going to line up our corner nicely. And then we're going to make it stick. Go to bed, darling. She hoodling you to bed, is she?
No. But she just did a full show
So
in her room.
do that so we all know how to fix our boo-boos. Were you talking about things you shouldn't? See you in the morning. I love you. You want to say goodnight to everybody? Dearie me.
Good night, hello, goodbye.
Dearie me. By the way, I think your eyes are definitely going to settle on brown or hazel.
No, they're not. They're going to settle on green.
No, they're not going to settle on green. They look hazel. Like Milton, her mum and dad. See, Naomi's got green eyes. Noah's got blue eyes. Noah's definitely got blue eyes. Mealies are only just deciding to settle. You never know, they could go green still. Rightio. It is good of me to show you how to fix a boo-boo. Everyone saying good night. Making sure the corners are nearly nicely lined up. So we're just putting our little bit of glue. Not a lot of glue, it's just a tiny little smear. Oh, whoops. I didn't push them hard enough. Oh, I was too busy talking to that kid. Yakking to that kid. Rightio. So we actually make sure we fold it in first before we let the bottom bit stick. Or you can just do the good old turn a piece back. Make sure it's all folded in first and then you let it sort of stick down. Oh, a little bit of tape came out. Oh, it's okay. We're going to stick something on that. Let's make sure it sits again. Now, we're going to do ourselves a huge favour. Because we're going to cover this, this is the lid. This is the base. Very lightly. Lid base. Okay. So now what we're going to make, the next thing is we need to make this so it fits in here. Obviously, it doesn't fit. Yep. And you can see that this piece is almost like that. Nearly like that. Okay. I really did tell Furkies at the start about us starting from the drawer, didn't I? We didn't start from the drawer, and it makes no sense to start from the drawer. Okay, so this piece needs to be, our base is 6 inches, right, on the outside. The inside's going to be slightly less than that. So I actually think coming in 1/4 inch makes a lot of sense with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in 1/4 inch. So this base piece, this piece is going to be 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. Okay. So then what we need to do, what have you done there, Elisa? Why is there pencil in there? It's interesting. Is it pencil? I don't know. So what we're going to do to build this is we are going to do, because it's like all the way around. And we're going to make it an inch high. Like it's only going to be 1 inch high. So we've got 5 3/4 plus 1 inch, 2 inches. So that's 7 3/4. Plus we're going to have like 2 there and 2, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 3/4. Okay. So let's cut a piece of cardstock. And I do not have cardstock. I'm not skills out of one of my kits. We're going to use 5 pieces. So we're going to cut a piece of cardstock that's 11 3/4 by 11 3/4 by 8 3/4. Right. I still have 2 pieces of cardstock out of the kit. Rightio. So what we're going to do is these two, when we hold it landscape, so shortest up and down, longest wide to side, we're going to score the 2 sides and 1 long edge. So the 2 short edges are going to get scored and 1 long edge is going to get scored, right? So we're going to score at 2 inches and 3 inches on the 2 short ends. 2 inches, 3 inches, and then 1 long edge. 2 inches, 3 inches. And then we're going to do, it's going to fold in and in, making sure on this non-scored edge, we want it to be nice and straight. Probably should have cleaned the design board. This is not even my design board. Mine's clean. Mine's clean. I'm going to switch to mine. Mine's cleaner than Manny's. Cleanish. And then right. Okay. So we've got this. We're going to stick a piece over the top. We're going to make this work. I know. It seems like it's going to be hard, but it's not going to be hard. So what we're going to do is we want our tabs to stick under this end piece. So this is our drawer front, and we want these tabs, we want long tabs to come in behind here for stability here at the back. Okay, so what we need to do is we're going to cut on the right of the ridge down to here. Then here we're just going to cut in just to our tab on the right of the ridge. And here we're just going to cut all the way down on the left of our ridge. And we cut our tab narrower between our ridges, so it's between the ridges, so it actually fits inside. We want this to fit inside here. So here we're going to cut all the way down on the left. as far as our tab on the left. Oh, I nearly went past it. And then all the way down. No. All right. Here, turned it back. The brain fog there. Okay. So now we need to put tape on our tabby bits. Just going to do 2 runs of this stuff. And we really don't want to go like I did beyond the ridge there, because otherwise it'll be inside the drawer, exposed, and it could grab something. It's not meant to, like if someone hides something in under the drawer. You never know. Oop. Too far. So just roll it back. If you go too far, if you go beyond the score ridge, now, okay, these ones hold themselves together. These ones. So it's okie doke if I don't burnish them, but these ones need to be burnished. So on this, which is our drawer base, it's kind of like the carcass of our cabinet. You know, when you get a kitchen cabinet or you're talking about a chest of drawers, it's the carcass of the cabinet. Just so you know. So let's do a test. So there's going to be nothing coming back over to hold this. It's just going to be this business here. We're just going to be doing these ones like this. We're going to make this thing. Okay? And we've got to get this nice and tight here, because what we want to do is we're going to stick a piece on here that holds it all together. So about now, what we're going to do is we're going to make part of our easel part on here, okay? So let's have a look-see. We're going to make our front, like our top. So our top that sits on here, that's this front here, this front of our easel. We're going to make it the same size as our drawer base. So it's going to be 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, right? So 5 3/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches. So that is, and I'm going to write on that, this is our card front. We're going to cover that. We won't see that. So that's our card front. We've labelled that. She goes over there. This is our lid and our base. They're going to go over here as well. I'm going to put them there. We're not writing on this. Well, actually, we could underneath, because what I do is I put a piece of pattern paper underneath to make it look pretty. Okay. So now we need we're going to make the best use of this piece of cardstock. Now we need our easel mechanism. So our easel mechanism here. And we're going to make that I'll make that 5 3/4. we're going to make that 5. We're going to use the long piece. We're going to make that 5.5 inches. Right. Oh, that is crooked. We're going to make that 5.5 by 11. So that's our easel mechanism. So that's this piece in here. And I make that smaller always on an easel card. So when someone gets the easel card, the front is slightly bigger than the easel base or the easel mechanism. And what it means is they automatically lift it because it's bigger. So then they see, oh, look, it does that. So it automatically gets them to open it. Whereas if I find if they're the same size, people are going, oh, well, what's this? But if it's slightly bigger, it looks right. It's not slightly bigger. It's the same as our carcass base here, our drawer base, our drawer surrounding thing, that bit there. So that's our easel mechanism, right? So we're going to put that aside. Right. So then we're left with this little piece here, and we're going to use this piece to hold this doodah, carcass, drawer base, whatever we're going to call it, together. Now I'm going to say, I'm going to cut it to 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 because I want to demonstrate something. You are going to have to be, we're going to have to channel all of our ambidextrousness to get this to sit exactly right, right? So it's going to have to fit along the front and it's going to have to fit there nice, right? So it's actually going to be just slightly wider. This is actually, you know what I need to do? Before we move anywhere. That fits. That fits. Right. Just making sure it fits in there. I had to do it. You know I had to do it. So let's have a look. Do we think this baby is going to fit nice? I think it is. And then we put a nice little bit of the hot pink. Okay. Away we go. We are one piece of cardstock short, and that is for our drawer. Yeah, no. So on this piece here, so this back piece, we're going to put a bit of tape here and here, right? It's structural again, and it's not, it's going to be like a bit of a spring-loaded beast. My original was not very well done. I have done this before. I've done it with double drawers as a class before, a face-to-face class. It's a bit interesting. Oh, maybe we could do that. Just had a thought. Okay. And you know what? We don't need tape on the inside of these. So I'm just going to remove this. Look at that. Made a mistake. And the beauty of tape is, and good tape like Express It, is you can, and good cardstock, you can just come along and roll it off. Now I'm thinking we're going to use some chipboard with this project. While I'm rolling this off, let's just chat. I'm going to use some chipboard with this project, and I'm thinking we might do a bit of a, we'll do a bit of a paint technique. We'll make the chipboard look a little vintage without being too dark. Does that make sense? So we'll come up with a bit of a paint technique. So this is the inside ones. We didn't need tape here. We're at 8:11. I am going to watch the time. But what we might do is we'll get this assembled except for the drawer. And what we'll do tomorrow night is we will make our drawer first and shove it in. But before we finish tonight, we might just do a little touch of the assembly. There we go. We didn't need tape in there. Okay, so we need tape. Make sure I burnish those. Right. A little bit of glue. I left the lid undone. And we use the longer tab on these because these aren't like our unlike our box lid and box base. These ones actually are structural and it's not going to hold itself together without some support. I'm just going to stick that in place, and then I'm going to come along here and I'm just going to do that. It's a little bit of my tape. Okay, let's peel this off. Roll that back. Oh, I closed it this time. Right, okay, let's use the side of the lid to spread that. Okay. It's got that nice. Got that very nice. And it's in there. I do overlap just a touch. That's okay. This is going to go here, and then we're going to seal that there nicely. Okay. Bit of glue. Oh, that's too much glue. Just have a cloth to wipe your fingers on. And we're just going to get this corner looking good and get this meeting up really nice there. So it's nice and straight along here. And then we're going to, so I'm just going to, yeah. Now before we just go and whack this 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 piece on, we are actually going to make sure it fits nicely. So there we go. So the glue gives us the ability to sort of move it around a little. Right. Go away, bug. Go away, bug. Dead bug. Okay, so let's test this out. So when we have this nice and even at the front, we need to make sure we pull the sides in because the sides actually want to gape. So this piece here actually wants to gape. So we need to just make sure we bring it in nicely. We want to line it up evenly at the front and pull that in because we don't want it to be too big for our box base, and we don't want it to be gapey that when we start putting our squares on top, they don't fit nice. Look at that. That looks good. Actually, no, that'll be right. So let's put a decent amount of tape on that. This is structural, so we're going to put our tape up the sides and across the back, because there's no point putting tape here. There's nothing there for the tape to hold on to. Let's burnish that. So you're only taping 3 sides. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to pull that back a touch. And we're just going to pull it back just a touch at the front. Because this is the front. This bit without tape across it is the front. I'll be able to put a little bit there. A little bit there. A little bit there. Just being careful to look at my measurements of my base. Yep, that's going to work. So we need to get it on here at the front. Bring our front together. We want to line it up nice and even. So I've got it on this side. A tiny bit of that showing. This side. Just a tiny bit there showing. And then I'm just gonna line it up. So it's gonna take just a tiny bit. I'll have just a tiny smidge on each side showing, but I'm nice and even at the front and at the back. Okay, I like this side. So let's carefully pull that out. Right, and I'm happy with this side. And see how I was holding these front pieces because they're the bits that want to move. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to burnish in here. So if you have the slightest bit, so it moved just the slightest bit, so I've got just a tiny smidgen showing here, and now what I'm going to have to do is try and trim that. See, now that's not fun because it just moved. So I'll pull that tape out. Just taper that. So just here I'm going to taper this corner so it doesn't look dodge. There are ways to fix things. There we go. No one's gonna know except for me. Okay, there we go. So you can see in there. See, there we go. Making sure it's all lined up, yes. So let's get our we're going to use this very vintage number 6. I'm going to use just a smidgen of this. So let's trim the fussy cuts off. Okay, so we want a piece of this that is 5 5/8 by 5 5/8. Now that is halfway between 5 1/2 and 5 3/4. So 5 5/8 by 5 5/8. Halfway between 5 1/2 and 5 3/4. Now that's very vintage number 6. Can you name it? So far we have 4 pieces of white and a piece of Very Vintage 6. We need one more piece of white. Okay, so this piece is going to sit on here.
Very Vintage 6, is it?
Yeah. And then this is our piece that was 11 by 5.5, right? So we're going to score that at 5.5, and 8.25. 1, 2, yes, at 8.25. 5.5 and 8.25. Just have to make sure the math in my brain was the right math. What's happening? So at the 5.5 mark, we're going to fold it in half in on itself. And we're going to make sure we're nice and straight. Like that. Then we're going to take this one where we scored at 8.25, and we're going to fold back on itself. So we end up with a 5.5 by 5.5, and then a 5.5 by 2 3/4, and a 5.5 by 2 3/4, like that. So it's like a Z, kind of. So this small piece at the top, we're going to put tape on it. Now it is structural, so we need to burnish that. And then down here, oh, I've got a bit of cardstock there. And then down underneath, on the back of this 5.5 by 5.5, we're going to put tape on that. And it's got to be burnished because that is also structural. So this piece here that was 5 5/8 by 5 5/8 of Very Vintage number 6, we're going to cut the middle out. Just going to come in like 1/2 inch. And you need to do this. You need to alleviate the weight. Does need to happen. And we're going to stick those two together. Turn back a little bit on each piece of tape. I know I've got really wide tape. That's okay. We're going to add more tape. Yeah. This baby is not falling apart. I'm going to move it closer to me. And sorry if you see my amazing grey hair. Which is something I have passed on to 2 of my children. So I'm going to pull this out. Nice. And nicely done. Then we're going to add some more tape. Yeah. Just tape, 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 tape. And then a touch of glue. Okay. So what we're going to do before we stick this on is we're going to get our card front, right? And we've got this piece here with this tape on the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn our card front over. We're going to have the card front on the front. We're going to remove this tape here that we burnished. Then we're going to add some glue. This is structural on this one. This in particular needs it. And then we're going to hold this like this. So we're going to hold the whole thing together like that. And we're going to sit this in the middle of our card front. Like not to the edge, not to the top, not to the bottom, in the middle. I'm going to get this. So we've now got an easel card with a pretty mat. Yep. Where is our drawer? Can I have electricity, please? So, no, we don't need to do it. So this is the front of our drawer, and we've got our, so we've actually got our joiny bit at the top. Now we've got our joiny bit at the top because when you look at the drawer, you see the bottom. So we want the bottom to look nice and smooth because people don't always look underneath. You want it to be where they see it. You want that to be just plain cardstock. So we're going to put our joiny bits at the top. This is the front. So, you know, that's our opening. That's the front. We've got our card. And this goes backwards. So this is the front here. So we're going to stick this on here, right? So I'm going to peel back the middle bit, which makes a bit of a bugger, and peel this back a little bit at a time. We are going to add some glue because we don't want this to fall apart. We're going to do some structural security business in a minute on our carcass of our set of drawers, or our drawer. So where's our front? Let's do a test. It's our front. It's the front here. Can never test it enough times. Trust me. I have pulled many, many cards apart. Now, remembering this card front is the same size as the piece we stuck on top of our drawers. So we're going to line it up at the front. We're going to line up nicely. It's going to sit on top perfectly in a perfect world. And then this pink piece is going to have like a nice little border of white around it. Just don't like how that moves sometimes. Right, and then we're going to make a stopper. Okay, so we've already got issues. Let's have a look at our scrap pile. Right, this is the one we want. We're at the hour-and-a-half mark. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of a structural reinforcement thing here. Let's see if this goes in our box. Might be a really good idea. Goes in. Lid goes on. Beautiful. Look at that. Comes out. Comes out. Yeah. We're going to need 3 parts to this. Okay, so we've got this little baby here. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece that is, so we've got it in this long ways. We're going to cut a 5.5 inch, and it's already like 4 1/4. So we've got 5.5 by 4 1/4. Oops. Sorry, I just missed the spot where that goes. And we're going to put tape, 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 tape. We're going to burnish it. I'm going to make this structural. Don't throw this piece out. That's important. The leftover bit from this. So this was 5.5 by 4 1/4. It was just the width we had left over. So let's remove and make sure our tape doesn't go beyond our edges. Remove that. Put some glue on here. Yep. And then we're going to do the khaki-handed stick. Yep. We're going to stick this in here, central, along the edge. Yeah. So I've sort of got it there and there. The glue helps us to slide it around a bit. So it's nicely along the edge. It's in. It's in. Squish it on the edge here. Now, this is the kind of card where if you're going to be making dinner at the same time, you have to be really careful with wet hands and clean hands. It's white cardstock. Just want to be clean, and I'm just burnishing this in place. So this is just going to give us a little bit of strength here. Oh, look at that. That's already better. And then this piece here, we're going to use it to build our backstop. Tomorrow night, we'll build a backstop there. So we need to keep that. That's special. Let's just shove that in the drawer. Oh, no, it doesn't fit. Well, just doesn't fit. We'll just keep it over here with our fussy cutting. Put in our drawer, in our box. Look at that. Lovely. And it is going to get pulled out. It's going to come out that way, really. Or you just tell them they've got to tip it out. Lovely. And then away. All tickety-boo. How's that? That's not bad for an hour and 34 minutes. Yep. I know. Look, I've made a mess. This goes in the fussy cutting because I think this bow will look really nice. And maybe these pink flowers. Definitely the leaves. I love leaves. We all know I love leaves. Oh, and I like the lady fob watch thing. That'll look really nice. We've got another bit of this because we're going to put a bit of this on here and a bit on the inside because we're going to use this as our colour pop because it's already our little pop of colour in there. Very impressive. Thank you, Cheryl. Looks amazing so far. Yep. And it is about building the structure. And even if you have like, okay, get your crappy cardstock. Just gonna say, we've all got cardstock we purchased that we are never going to use that color. Like, why on this planet I ever bought some of the heinous mustard colors that I possess in my collection, I really don't understand. But what I do sometimes, and some of you have seen them before in my older classes, is I will build a prototype for something I want to make, or if I want to try and engineer something that I've been told is not possible out of cardstock, you know, because you've got to prove people wrong. So get your disgusting cardstock and have it that, you know, this says card front and it's got its measurement. This one is, you know, you've got your measurement, where you scored it at, and how you folded it with a little diagram. And then you point an arrow to this pink piece, which is another heinous cardstock you don't know why you bought. And you've got the measurement there and some notes. And then on the bottom of this, you've got your measurements, your scoring guide, and all your bits. So when you go to make one of these, you go, okay, well, these are all my bits. And then on the front of this, I'm going to cut a piece that's this size, and this size, and then embellish. And on the front of this, this started off as this. And on the inside, I'm going to cut a piece that size to go in it, and on the front I'm cutting that, and that. I'm going to stick it on and embellish it, and the same with the base. Like, you write yourself some instructions and you have a prototype out of heinous coloured cardstock that you're never ever going to use. So we all have it. Well, I do. So I need to fussy cut that as well. And this we're going to use, and we'll definitely use maybe that. You never know. So these leftover pieces, I have a collection of tiny punches, and no, I cannot buy them anymore. Some of the really tiny ones, and that's sometimes what I use to make my little filler flowers. But I do like fussy cutting better than punching, because punches don't last forever, but I've always got a pair of scissors and something to fussy cut. So some of these are a little small, but they're going to be really good for fillers. But if you're, if you've got little punches or little dies you use, these sometimes I use for fillers on projects like this. Oh, we'll keep that bit and we'll be able to use it. And out of all this, we'll maybe keep these white strips, because we might use those. Could probably come up with an engineering function for these. But all these little corner tab bits, sometimes I write notes on these when I'm building something like this. But I'm just gonna, oh, there's another piece there. I'm just gonna chuck them to the side for the moment. There are a few. There's just a few. But yeah, so we'll be back at 7 o'clock tomorrow night out here on Facebook and YouTube. I will share it in the Creative Family group and the Creative Hub Facebook group as well, like I did tonight. Let's put this in. Oh no, we need the drawer, because we've still got to make a drawer. But our drawer's a different size. We've ended up a different size completely. Thank you, Diana and Cheryl and Di and Angela. So there we go. And I do have I've got a couple of chipboards to choose from, but we'll talk about what will work. See, My Heart Is Yours would fit on the front, definitely. A Wish Come True, I've used that on lots of wedding cards. Yeah, so we'll see what we use, what we decide we're going to use tomorrow night. Thank you, Joanne. So, yeah, take care, stay safe. I've got to clean my mess up. Just a little bit of a mess. And tomorrow night, what we'll do is we'll bake our backstop, make our drawer, and we'll do some of our covering and get a start on planning our embellishing and that sort of thing. Thanks, Deborah and Marion. And thank you, Marion, for booking into our Brisbane classes. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think we're going to do, just keep an eye on it, because we might be going to add, we'll probably add it to that same product. We're going to do a painting class on Saturday night. The painting class we've got this Sunday, we're going to do on Saturday night. So I'll be at book club tomorrow night. Can someone please take notes? Yes. Can someone type notes tomorrow night? We'll get someone to do it. Waiting for the next video, part 2, says Diana. I'm sure you can't wait. I'm sure Diana will be up to this point probably tomorrow too, if she doesn't have Grandies. So take care, stay safe, everyone. I love yous all, and thank you so much for coming along. And thank you, Helen, for suggesting this, and then Quentin for making me do it with a drawer and taking it further, because this is going to be a fun project. Thank you all. Take care. See you soon. Bye.